Can you hear me? My name is Neil Roll. I'm from the town of York, and I'm speaking today in favor of LE 1020. But first, let me state very firmly that during my 16 years in the Maine legislature, I never served on this committee. And as a result, I'm here empty-handed, except for my speech. So, speaking as a Maine historian, marriage and our laws on marriage have always been dictated in our state by civil authorities, while often lurking in the background are the pressures exerted by religious groups. From 1652 on, when Maine was incorporated into Massachusetts, there was for more than a century an established religion. Today we would call it the Congregational Church. It was initially against the law to belong to any other church, and the first discriminations were against Episcopalians and Baptists. Even when later there was some tolerance of these other groups, they still had to tithe to the Congregational Church and help pay for its ministers. The first indication of marriage law in this situation occurred in the late 18th century. A small district of Maine group of Roman Catholics had come to live in the vicinity of Newcastle, where they were allowed to build a church. But when Bishop Jean Chevreuse arrived from Boston to perform a marriage for these folks, he ran afoul of the law. It was illegal then to perform a Catholic marriage ceremony in Maine. Bishop Chevreuse was arrested and tried, and if convicted, he would not only have been fined, but pilloried in a public place. However, the trial ended inconclusively when the judge was incapacitated after falling off his horse. Once we achieved statehood, Maine passed its own laws, and the first marriage law was promulgated in 1822. Among other things, it voided all marriages where, quote, either of the parties shall have a former wife or husband living at the time of such marriage. So much for divorce. And all marriages between any white person and any Negro, Indian, and mulatto shall be absolutely void. That was Section 2 of the bill. In Section 3, it stated who could perform marriages. The first being justices of the peace, the civil authority, followed by ordained ministers of the gospel. There was no monopoly given to religion. Because I don't have much time, I'm going to skip over the various changes that were made to the original law. However, I would just dwell for the moment on several amending acts of 1883. The first repealed the anti-miscegenation clauses and substituted no insane person or idiot shall be capable of contracting marriage. And later in the session, another amendment emphasized that paupers were not to marry, but the Quakers could.
Mr. Roll, I really need to ask you this.
I have to
stop.
Oh, I'll finish right now. In any event, the picture is drawn that change was continual on the issue of marriage in Maine, and seeming always to trend towards liberalization. So this bill today, though the 1020, surely moves in the direction of Maine history.
Thank you.